I'm shortly here to introduce NE+AR to you all. NE+AR is a very special initiative that shares knowledge and experience about design. So it's there to create a network of like-minded designers in all different areas. And it initiates multi-disciplinary and cross-cultural projects. So finally, to build a bridge. But let's go back a little. Where does NE+AR actually come from? About 10 years ago, there was a founder standing right there, the man with the hat. And so the initiator of NE+AR, he first started with something else in the Netherlands, in a city called Eindhoven. And you might know Eindhoven from Philips, the big company for electronics, or from the Design Academy, the International School for Design. But in Eindhoven, there's not only fancy electronic companies, there's also disadvantaged neighborhoods. And that's where the first initiative started. It's called Tea House, founded in 2006 by Dennis in neighborhoods with some problems, to start children activities to increase the social cohesion in the neighborhood. And as we just heard from Paul, sometimes the user is actually the expert, and this is exactly what's the case in these kind of neighborhoods. So, well, Tea House designed these workshops together with people, but if we look at local collaborations or local challenges or local solutions, you can find local anywhere. So there's local in the disadvantaged neighborhoods in Eindhoven, but there's also local in the Middle East. And that's why Dennis, who at some point, well, you might got a little bored with good old Eindhoven, thought maybe there's more exciting stuff going on in the rest of the world, maybe even the Middle East. So opening up their markets was the next quest. And there were opportunities, actually loads of them. In Manchester, in Qatar and in Paris, but actually what appealed us most was Beirut in Lebanon. So a couple years ago, we started in the Beirut Design Week with lectures and exhibitions and bringing like-minded designers together. And this was actually a whole new experience. The people were warm, the people were enthusiastic, there were people with loads of the same ideas about what design could be. Yeah, basically a lot of potential for both us and for them. So what we could see is that local designers and universities were enthusiastic, but also the Dutch designers that we bring to the Arabic world, well, they were just amazed by the great areas over here. So we thought we have to do more with this. So together with the Dutch embassy, we built a real bridge, and that is NE+AR. So, organizing exhibitions, lectures and workshops, and sharing a message of creating value together. But then we decided this exchange would actually go way deeper and broader if we would include education. Because who's actually the next generation, and how do we include those things if we want to take a next step in design? And that's where we established the NE+AR Academy. The NE+AR Academy aims at showing students what value design can have. So what we basically heard is that, well, there's a lot of design and there's good design. We even saw today in the Hangar exhibition amazingly curated stories, very impressive design. But is it widespread throughout the universities that design could be more than luxury and decoration? Well, if we see the design here, we believe so. But still, throughout the universities, we heard that there is some need for looking how everyone does it around the world. And that's why we developed, together with universities, 18 different people from around the Middle East, 18 different design courses. That's called the NE+AR Academy. And the NE+AR Academy, basically, it goes around this little circle. If you have had something to do with a design background, you probably recognize it. But also in any other field, you might recognize this. Because the circle of discovering, then interpreting the story, creating something and experimenting with it and evaluating that, and maybe starting all over again, is something that you can do, well, in actually any innovation process. And that's what it makes so special. So this is a short list. It's probably not very visible right now, but there's actually 3 different areas that we focus these academy workshops on. There's skill, there's research, and there's experiment. And I'll just shortly highlight 3 of them to give an idea of what the NE+AR Academy can be like. The first one is interaction design. So we probably have all a smartphone, we interact with screens all the time, but actually how do you steer as a designer how someone understands an interface or how they feel when they visit your website? This is a field that is actually, well, maybe underappreciated. So there's a couple of learning objectives that we carefully selected together with universities. So what are the things that students throughout these universities focus on already? And how can we, as the academy, complement those powers that are already going on? And in this case, for example, it's prototyping with the user together. Another one, we probably all hear this all the time, sustainable design. But what is sustainable design actually in fact? It's a question of asking yourself, what is it? What is it in my context or in my country? And how can we actually together maybe even change the behavior of people to work throughout a more sustainable future? And finally, that's the one, well, we all started with the Tea House, the first initiative, Design for Social Impact. So as said, design is often related to luxury or to maybe aesthetics, but how can you use the design process to look for innovation together with users? We all have social issues around, and they may or may not be important throughout the design process. But if you see what can happen if you design together with your user, then, well, durable designs will last, will be the result. That's in a nutshell what we will try to offer with the NE+AR Academy, and we'll try to launch it as soon as possible in Jordan as well. So hereby, we would like to invite all like-minded designers and people who have something to do with an academic background in here to come and speak to us, come and, well, inspire us and show us how we can learn from each other, and join us on this quest. And finally, of course, to make this all possible, the reason that we are able to be here is because of the Dutch Embassy. So I would like to thank the Dutch Embassy very much. And finally, of course, well, as we can see here, the Amman Design Week is very well taken care of. So we'd like to thank Rana and her entire team for welcoming us here for this great event. Thank you very much.